Hello again and welcome back to another one. And today we got some breaking news that shocked the internet as we got to find out a few hours ago that Grand Theft Auto 6 is now set to release in May 26, 2026. And before we get to the main topics today, this has caused quite the stir on social media as it sparked reactions like 13 years to make a single video game is freaking insane. And for some context, Grand Theft Auto 5 released the same year MMLP2 dropped. And this sparked reactions like, I just smashed my TV in front of 30 guests at my party because of the game. My wife just took our kids crying and said they're all spending the week at a hotel. This delay has ruined my life and my expectations. I can't handle this anymore. Goodbye, Rockstar. I am no longer a fan. And depending on what happens, on May 26, 2026, we could be in for a new record, as the Guinness World Record revealed. Longest development period for a video game, 14 years and 43 days, officially announced on 28 April 1997 by developer 3D Realms. The FPS Duke Nukem Forever was finally released on 10th June 2011. And as it stands, it would be crazy to see which releases first, MMLP3 or GTA 6. And moving on to the main topics today, we got an insight on what it is like to work with Eminem and 50 Cent from Eminem's co-star on 8 Mile and 50 Cent's co-star on Get Rich or Die Trying, Omar Benson Miller. And he gave us a brief description of what it is like to hang with Eminem and 50 Cent. And he was put in a difficult position to choose between 8 Mile and Get Rich or Die Trying, and was also asked who is the better actor, Eminem or 50 Cent, and we'll expand on this later. And today we'll be starting with one that came out of left field, at least for me, as we got some exchanges between Team Drake and Team Kendrick Lamar, and I'm talking about Rory from the Rory and Mal podcast and DJ Head in Kendrick Lamar's camp, and they briefly spoke about the battle that's resulted in heated debates on social media, claims that the corporations sided with Kendrick Lamar during the battle, for instance UMG working with Amazon to take advantage of the chaos at that time with the Pop-Out concert. Check out a snippet of how it went from the Rory and Mal podcast.
You think that people wasn't going to tune in and stream the first time Kendrick performed that record? Absolutely. Amazon didn't do that by accident. That wasn't accident. That wasn't just something that they absolutely was like, no, we need to capitalize off of this momentum. 1,000,000%. And it's a smart business play. I'm not knocking it, but we're not going to sit there and act like it wasn't, a meeting and so heads didn't come together and say, we have to capitalize.
You're saying that UMG was like, Amazon, let's do this thing.
I'm not saying that's how it went. I'm saying when they saw that momentum and they saw how big this is the biggest moment in hip hop in the last, however, maybe since J Nas, maybe even bigger than J Nas. There's no way you're going to sit across me and say somebody at these labels or somewhere else didn't say, we have to capitalize off of this moment. This moment is too big of a moment. We may not ever see a moment in hip hop like this again. And that Amazon or whoever else is not going to have a meeting and say, we need to capitalize off of this moment. Absolutely. And I'm not mad at it, but don't sit there and say, nah, nobody had that talk. 1,000,000% they had that talk. And they should. It's about making money.
Just because you talk louder don't mean you're right. That's not what happened.
That's not my intent.
That's not what happened. I can tell you I was there. That's not what happened.
Of course you were there. I know you DJ'd the pop, but you're not going to sit there and tell me Amazon didn't say, we're not going to capitalize on this moment.
When you say Amazon, you're saying Jeff Bezos.
Whoever was in charge of putting together that show and streaming it on Prime, that's who I'm talking about.
Okay.
Bezos probably no, but he has a bunch of people that work under him that it's their job to not fumble that moment. Absolutely.
Or I'll run an or scenario by you.
Run it.
I pitch you should do a show at SoFi.
Why? To perform Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers?
Sure, whatever.
Okay, cut the shit, bro.
To perform.
The record.
To perform.
The record.
I'll tell you, I actually pitched an idea for the actual music video.
Mm-hmm. Not like us.
Correct.
Okay.
It's like, hey, you should do it this way. Let's do a concert. Oh, yeah, that's what you think? Yeah, that's what I think. Little did I know there was already something in the works for a show, right? But it wasn't at the SoFi Stadium.
Head, can I just interject for 1 second? I'm not here to add an opinion, just add facts to it. Who was the head of Amazon Music at the time of the pop-up show? Because I understand you're bringing up Jeff Bezos. He's in space. But let's talk about who was actually on Earth. No, he didn't go.
His girl went.
Fair. Okay. So who was the head of Amazon Music at the time?
At the time, it was Tim.
Tim, friend of the show. We love Tim Henshaw. That's our guy. Love him to death.
Do you know where Timothy
Where is Tim from, and who did Tim grow up with?
Tim is from Compton. Mm-hmm. Who did he grow up with? What you mean? I don't know who he grew up with.
Okay, fair enough. I'm just adding in some context of what you're saying. No, Jeff Bezos wasn't involved in that. I'm just adding context. I have no dog in this fight.
Also,
I watched the pop-up, paid for it, loved him. Go ahead.
Yeah, but also there's also nuance to that, which is like, again, I don't speak out of turn because again, but there's also street stuff that is probably wouldn't, because I understand that where you're going with that, but there's also stuff that supersedes all of this.
And also Tim was just doing his job.
And while on one end, this sparked reactions like, this doesn't make sense from Ma, LOL, Amazon has had a working relationship with Kendrick for years before this stuff ever happened. They've done live shows with him before. It is not like this just came out of the blue. And when it comes to these two rappers, you could never get hip-hop fans to agree on anything. As to this, a user fired back with, no, Tim Henshaw had a working relationship with Kendrick for years. They've never done anything with Kendrick prior to Tim getting his position. So essentially, this user is insinuating that Tim Henshaw used his connection to make that happen on Amazon. All these things added up to fuel the popularity of the battle, but I don't know if this was how it went down, and I'll be looking forward to your thoughts later as the debates continued. And on Drake's end, some have expanded. DJ Head is trying to be the fall guy, laughing emoji. Nah, buddy, we know what happened. That's why you and or scenario sounds terrible, because it is a terrible lie. And of course, this user has been accused of knob riding Drake. And more on this note, DJ Head acts all innocent, like this wasn't planned with UMG. And some have now taken what happened at the Grammys between Dr. Dre and UMG CEO, the high five moment. Check it out. Why are y'all calling the UMG thing a conspiracy theory? Like we didn't see all these UMG artists move as a unit last year. 2 albums dissing, sponsorships lined up right after the beef, a major push from the label, and more. Stop gaslighting us. We have internet access too. And when it comes to this conspiracy, another user expanded with, it is crazy because I thought this was organic beef. Then when I realized Not Like Us was playing, after I listened to a Fleetwood Mac song, I realized that these MFers were actually systematically pushing an agenda. And this is one I'll throw over to you guys. Do you believe that there was a whole push to take down Drake that involved even the likes of UMG and Amazon colluding behind the scenes to push the concert bashing Drake? And moving on to the next segment, this is one that I'll throw over to you guys in the comment section, as Maul, who is obviously Team Drake since this started, was asked to say a nice thing about Kendrick Lamar. And of course, he did quite a bit of shuffling to give his answer, and clearly the Not Like Us record still cuts deep. Check out a snippet from the podcast of how it went.
Say something nice about Kendrick Lamar.
Like what? I don't know him personally.
Saying, yo, I didn't downplay you is not saying something.
Him as a rapper.
Him as a whatever.
I don't know him as a person, so I can't say.
As a rapper.
He's one of the illest. But I've always said this. He's one of the illest. He's one of the best of his generation. Like I went to the Mr. Morale show with Rory.
Yeah.
Said it was one of the best rap shows I've ever been to. Kendrick's stage performance has gotten a million times better. He's a star. Like I've said all of these things already, but because in the battle, I wasn't on the side of thinking Euphoria or Meet the Grams was amazing. People feel like I hate Kendrick. And I'm like, yo, did y'all not just see everything I said about him when Mr. Morale came out? And I said the album was incredible and he could probably turn that into a Broadway play because it plays like a playbook. Like I said all of these things about Kendrick. I fuck with Kendrick. I think he's amazing. I just think that in this moment, he said things that's kind of like, that's a little crazy to say that and put that on another man. I don't like the record. Not saying Kendrick. I've never said Kendrick isn't dope and he can't rap. You will never find me anywhere on the internet saying that. So, I mean, something nice about him? Yo, keep fucking putting out dope ass bars, keep putting out dope projects, like keep doing your thing on tour, like do all of that. I wish you stopped performing that fucking record. I think that that's crazy. You don't need to perform that record. And that's, to me, it's like you're making that a point to perform that record because his catalog is dope. He doesn't need to perform that record. But, I get it. Have your victory lap. But I just think that at some point you got to get away from that record because that energy, that message is like, that's disgusting to be out there rapping or even saying that word on stage every night. Like I've seen the J Nas battle, Kiss and Beans and all these dudes that I grew up listening to. That's never a word anybody ever even threw out there. Like you don't play with that word. So I come from that. So that's why I'm always speaking to that because it's like, yo, you heard what you just said about this dude? Like that's a little, you throwing that on a man's jacket is the worst thing you can put on somebody. So to me, I just don't like that. I don't like that message. How Head said is certain things he just don't feed into. That's not his frequency. That I'm just like, all right, once I hear that, I'm not even listening to that no more.
And before I get to the exercise that I have for you guys, this has sparked reactions like, he's so defensive, him having to say anything nice about Kendrick out loud in front of cameras was hard for him to do. A lot of them, him and academics, they are so pro Drake, they don't want to acknowledge how much they actually love Kendrick and knows he's a dope lyricist. They don't want to disappoint Drake or be on the side with Kendrick when it is okay to like both artists equally and not take it personal.
Uh-oh. CAP.
Now, before we continue, I personally don't believe it's possible to like both artists equally. And the user continued, Kendrick and Drake are completely two different type of artists. They rap about different ish and deliver music differently. This debate was dumb to have. Laughing and skull emoji. And we got some users who believe that if Family Matters turned out to be the winner during the battle, he wouldn't be saying the same thing if Drake was out here performing the song. Check it out. If Family Matters had this type of run, he simply would not be saying this. And this is one that I'll throw over to you guys. Do you think calling Drake a pedo was going too far? As some users agree with Mal. Thank you, Mal, for upholding some integrity in this ish. No rap beef in the history of hip-hop ever involved being called a pedo. Kendrick is a disgusting, weird little person, and all these kids online just following the rest of the sheep. And back to the exercise that I said I have for you guys. If you are Team Drake or you are Team Kendrick, I'll be looking forward to a nice thing that you have to say about Drake or Kendrick. And better yet, I'll start with myself. And here's a nice thing I have to say about Benzino. So as you heard, we've got some nice things to say even about Benzino, and I'll be looking forward to your thoughts in the comment section later. And moving on to the next point, we got Omar Benson Miller, a co-star on 8 Mile and also Get Rich or Die Trying, and he was recently on Run It Back and he was asked a spicy question. Check out a snippet.
Let me ask you this. So you were in 8 Mile, you're in Get Rich or Die Trying, two rap icons, 50 and Eminem. Who's the better actor of those two?
Whoa.
Ooh, that's tough. You know, Marshall's got the edge because he only gave you a 1 film sample size.
Yeah, and it was so good.
A 10 out of 10.
Is it?
I tell
He
people
kind of
all
played
the time,
himself, though. He played himself.
How dare you?
Oh yeah, he played him. I mean, I have.
There was emotion.
He still played it
He played a
unbelievably.
variety of himself in several pieces.
Yeah.
You know, and I had an acting teacher who once said, "Hey, range is overrated." I didn't take that approach, but if you're really great at one thing, there's nothing wrong with being really great at one thing. You know. So to me, I tell people this: when you're around Eminem, Em is really introverted until he really gets to know you, and then he can't stop talking. When you're around 50, it's like being around your best friend who hit the lotto. It's a situation where it's all love and it's happening, and he wants you to be a part of it, which is really, really cool. Now, when it comes to the movie, I personally prefer 8 Mile to Get Rich or Die Trying, but that's just me.
I love 8 Mile. No, I Omar, this has been awesome, man. I hope your Clippers get it done tonight.
So as you saw, he picks 8 Mile over Get Rich or Die Trying, and something tells me that was a safe answer, because according to most reviews, it's been rated as the better film. And on the point of Eminem being introverted until you get to know him, some users have expanded. I think if you talk about his cassette collection, the guy will never shut up, LOL. To which a user added, or his comic book collection. I can definitely relate though. And I have one to add to this, talk about Tretch. And that will be all for today, and I'll be looking forward to your thoughts below. And if you were Team Drake, tell us something you admire about Kendrick, and vice versa if you were Team Kendrick. And don't forget to like and subscribe and even join the channel if this is up your street. Thanks for watching, and see you on the next one.